guys, welcome back to Stay True TV. Another episode where we're working on the quad bike basket case. So in the last episode you would have seen we got the new A-arms, bottom A-arms fabricated up, fitted in, seals, CVs, transfer case, all fitted up, awesome. But tonight we're going to sit and focus on getting the centre cases cleaned up and hopefully getting the gearbox back together. Let's go. Alright, we've gone and masked up the bits we've required masked up just to stop stuff from getting into the bearings while we've got wire and the wire wheels and stuff going on. So we should be good to Alright, time for a bath. Alright, so everything's cleaned up and dried, so the first thing we want to do is chuck a bit of oil on these bearings. Alright, first thing to install is the crankshaft now. We just washed it, so we'll give that a bit of oil in the bearing as well. Alright, next thing we're going to do is the oil pump. So to do this, you have a little dot there, you have a dot there. You need to put that impeller inside the pump, line it up with the dot there, so the dot goes to the dot. So we grab the housing, put your shaft through the housing, put the pin in there, make sure the two dots are still aligned, and then sit that onto the shaft over the pin. Done. You got your base. I just like to chuck a little bit of oil around it. Always good when you're putting stuff back together. It's good to put some oil on there. Lock through together like that. Let's pump. And we take it back over here. So we've got the gasket in place. Locate. And we have our screws. Alright, the next thing we're going to fit is the counterbalance shaft. Again, this has a dot, and on the crankshaft we have a dot. So what we want to do is align these two dots when the sprocket of the counterbalance shaft goes in. What I like to do is just put a bit of oil on the shaft there when it goes in. Okay. Bam. So our two dots you can see in the camera right there. Alright, next thing we're going to put in is the differential gear. And probably go ahead then and chuck the gear back on the diff. Next thing I'm going to do is take the top gear off of the shaft. I think I've made a mistake. We're going to remove this gear here back off. So next one's a bit awkward. We're going to try and get this spring onto here. Then we've got this arm. We're going to get that over. Chuck a bit of oil in. Pop it out. This one's a bit unusual for me. I've not seen this set up before. Holy dolly! Alright, we're going to place this spring in here. Right, what I'm looking for is these dimples here. Usually I'd try and get the forks to line up in them dimples, and that'll usually give us some sort of a location. We got some drive, people. Chuck a bit of oil on everything. So I've just jimmy rigged a bit of a tool up here. So I've got my usual crank puller, but usually they're a nut to pull the flywheel. Usually the flywheel's got the crank's got a thread on the end of it. This one here's got a thread inside of it. So what I've done is I've made up a thread, just machined it off, chucked it in here. Now we're going to try and chuck it in and hopefully be able to pull this thing out. And that is that. A couple of days after the last lot of shots that I did, today we're going to try and get back into this motor, see if we can get a bit more together and hopefully get it back in the chassis. So when we parted the cases, I had everything apart, and when I went to lift them up, these two little beauties rocked out. So it's a spring and a ball bearing. So if any of you guys have the same issue when you're pulling one of these motors apart, I had to do a little bit of research because I was a bit lost from where it come from, and it didn't come out when I pulled it out. So this bolt here comes up over the top of your gear selector barrel, and inside that is where this spring and bowl come from. So your bowl just goes in on top of the barrel like that, and then that screws down like so. Next thing I'd gone and done, front drive shaft, just painted it up, make it look a bit pretty, cleaned all the rubbers and stuff up. You got your spring, you got your front rubber, just slides on like so. Circlip goes on, locks in position down the shaft, and your boot pulls up against it. The long side has a spring, and same deal on the other side. Short boot down, circlip on the spine on the circlip one on this side, on the shorter side, like that. Boot pulls up, done. So that's our assembly done. Alright, so now we're going to go take the case and stick it in the frame, and we'll work on the motor from inside the frame from there on. Alright guys, so we've gone and we've greased up the engine mounts, so two there. We've greased up the drive shaft splines, and I've got this engine mount here greased up, and the center cover through it. Let's go and mount this thing. Alright guys, motor's back in the frame. I'm not going to put the two front mounts on until we get them cleaned up. They're a bit messy looking, so we'll go and clean them up, give them a bit of paint, and then we'll put them engine mounts in there and mount them ones up. She's looking good. Let's keep going. Alright, so while we've got the sandblaster going, may as well clean up a few other bits and pieces. We don't have to mask or do anything to. Alright guys, so we've sandblasted all the parts, they're looking good. Just going to give them a clean up, paint these parts, they're all going black. So let's get into that, get these things painted today. Alright guys, unfortunately we've run out of time. We've managed to get a fair few parts sandblasted, painted. The only ones that I'm putting a clear coat that we've painted is the engine mounts, so I'll get a clear coat on them, and I'll be back tomorrow and we'll get it all fitted up and get some more done. Alright guys, welcome back. So I've just done a couple of little things while we've been off camera. So we've gone ahead and fitted the new front engine mounts here and here. So now we'll get back into trying to clean up some of this clutch unit, get all that cleaned up and hopefully get that back together. Let's see how we go. Alright guys, we've sandblasted a fair few of the parts now, so they're starting to come up pretty well. Got a couple of them we might chuck a bit of paint on, especially the starter motor, we'll chuck a bit of paint on that. But we'll probably split that and just check the coils and stuff inside it. I think I've seen a bit of that on the internet. We can check them out, make sure everything's good before we go putting that back on the bike. Then we've got the other parts over there still. So we've still got the stator cover, the top end, the rocker covers. We'll give them a good blast and a good old wash down. Might even have a look at the pull cord cover, see if that needs a bit of a clean up and fresh paint. She's starting to come along well. Sorry this video has taken a few days to get done. I've been also working as well. But we are slowly putting away before and after work, getting little bits and pieces done. It won't be long now. Alright guys, unfortunately we're going to have to call that a wrap for this video. I don't want to let the videos get too far apart, so we're going to chuck this one up as it is. So this video we've achieved getting the motor mounted back in the frame, front mounts all painted up, front drive shaft painted up, all the back end, bottom, all the mounts are in, everything's looking good. We've got the motor back together, all the gearbox back together, all seems to be working really well. All turning, everything seems to be working good. So we're looking sweet there. We got a heap of parts sandblasted and prepped ready for moving on to the next stages. So we'll go and get some seals tomorrow, hopefully start getting this stuff back together, and we'll be back with the next video real soon. Alright guys, if you like what you see so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, set your notifications for future builds. Your subscriptions help me keep going. Alright guys, till next time, stay safe.